Hi, I'm James, and I'm going to be talking about other routes into Esri UK or alternatives to the graduate program. So I'm a junior lead in technical support, and for a bit of context, I'm going to do a quick FAQ. So, what is a junior support lead, and what does that mean? To provide some context, then I work alongside a few other team leads to provide operational management of a team of analysts, and we're quite a big team, so we split up the different functions. A few things that I look after then are strategic projects. To name a few examples, we might be trying to improve efficiency or research some new technology or a product or to implement a new process. I also look after our testing environments in the cloud. We use Microsoft Azure. We have a big catalog of machines that we use to test issues. And I also have a stake in enterprise support. So I help out with some large support agreements for big enterprise customers that need an extra level of service. Alongside that, also do some line and program management as well. So what is Esri UK technical support and what do we do? Really, support is the first port of call for anyone with an issue with an Esri product. We support over 100 products, so we've got a lot of skills throughout the team. We work directly with our customers to resolve their problem. Normally we'll use screen shares, phone calls or emails, and interestingly we work in a remote way, so that the switch to remote working was quite easy for us. So what does a typical day look like? Normally we have a daily stand-up call with the team, and so the team will kind of prioritize work for the day. Then I might have some individual catch-ups to review workload, maybe taking on some escalation calls. So if say we can't resolve an issue, what happens next? I'm quite often dealing with that kind of thing. Maintenance of the cloud environments that we use for testing. I normally have 2 or 3 ongoing projects in the background, that I'm delivering. Also do some work on support cases as well in kind of an analyst role. And one of the things I try and do is leave some space for critical thinking. That's quite important when you're helping to manage the team. So where am I based? I moved back to, and it's one of my favourite terms, I moved back to home for lockdown, so near Stamford in Lincolnshire, which is the northern point on that map. Before that, I used to live in Aylesbury, which is where our head office is based. So just a little bit about my career so far. I graduated from the University of Leicester in 2018 with a BSc in geography, and just a little bit about what I did there. So yeah, I did a BSc in geography. I didn't do a master's. In my third year, I was the Geography Society president. I also was in the MSF Society, which is a humanitarian aid charity, and ran a missing maps initiative there, where we use OpenStreetMap to map sort of previously unmapped areas after a crisis. Had a few GIS internships as well in my second year. I did a few weeks at a geotechnical consultancy, so hydrology and GIS, mostly using ArcMap. Then in my third year, I was a part-time satellite data analyst while I was doing my dissertation. So I worked on a project to automatically detect deforestation in Indonesia and Kenya. So that was a really nice introduction to machine learning and that type of thing. So then in August 2018, I joined Esri UK, but I didn't join the graduate program. Originally, I applied for the graduate program earlier in the year, and then went through the assessment centre process, and then was invited back for a second interview as a support analyst. I then accepted and joined as an analyst in August 2018, and that's a picture of my laptop that I took on my first day. So just a few kind of highlights from the first couple of years then. In May 2019, I attended the annual conference, and most Esri staff will attend that. I led a few workshop sessions and talked to lots of customers on the support stand. There's a photo of me and some colleagues. And then later on in 2019, I presented at the European Developer Summit, and this was actually in tech research on a secondment. So even though I joined as an analyst, there was lots of scope for me to move around and try different teams. So I presented on extending Survey 123 using one of our SDKs called the Qt SDK. A couple of interesting things there. I learned that our European colleagues love sparkling water. There was 3 different intensities of sparkle on offer at that conference, so very interesting. And actually, I stayed on for a couple of days after to explore Berlin with one of my colleagues. So that was definitely a highlight for me. And then some kind of non-work things. We have a partner charity at Esri UK called Outward Bound, and so we raised some money for Outward Bound by cycling around London in a couple of days and sort of camping between. So that was another highlight. So really, I just wanted to outline some opportunities outside the graduate scheme, and this list of roles are positions that graduates have joined recently, and there's real world examples of people doing this. So internal sales consultant, which is in our sales team. Technical support analyst and dispatcher. So I joined as an analyst, and there's also a dispatcher role around in support as well. We've had a few people join as technical research developers and consultants, and I think you will hear from Bong, who's in that role. Pre-sales consultants. So there's a couple of examples of people moving into that role where they demo software to potential customers. And then kind of non-GIS side, we have marketing assistants. So there's recent grads that have moved there. And then if you perhaps have a little bit more experience under your belt, then there's the Professional Services Academy. So there's a few examples there as well. And what I wanted to show is this site here, which is our vacancy for GIS specialist, and this is kind of a wide and generic vacancy that we have as we're growing business. We're looking for a number of different roles, and you'll spot some of the roles that I talked about in the list. So a lot of these, are potentially graduate level roles. So take a look at our website and see if there's anything that takes your fancy. And if you do have any further questions about working in support or about the graduate program or applying for roles that aren't on the graduate program, feel free to drop me a line at jnoble@esriuk.com. Thank you very much.